So first of all, DevOps, a lot of you might have already guessed, even those of you who are very new to this, that DevOps is a combination of two words, that is Dev and Ops. Dev stands for development and Ops stands for operations. पुराने दिनों में, in the olden days, back till 2007 and prior, the the way the software was delivered was that there was a team that used to develop an application. That team developed an application, they created a build out of it, और उस build को उन्होंने पेन ड्राइव में लेके एक दूसरी टीम को दे दिया. They gave that build to another team that was known as the operations team. That operations team was responsible for sending out that application to a lot of users and taking their feedback. The feedback and the whole understanding of how the application worked was with the operations team. And then again, these guys came back to the development team and told them that so and so is working and so and so is not working. So consider an application like Amazon. So the development team spends 3-4 months building an application. They create a build and then they give it to the application team and they forget all about it. Now it is the job of the operations team to give that Amazon web application to the actual users who are going to be using Amazon. And now it is the operations team who handles the day-to-day running of the application. This is the way stuff used to work around in the first half of the 2010s era, the 2000s era. The problem with this approach is that there is a very big gap between the development team and the operations team. You as a developer are supposed to know how your application is performing, how frequent are the API calls, how exactly are you able to log stuff out to the console, how exactly is your application performing when there is very high load. Amazon, Flipkart, you pay whenever there are big billion day offers or any of those sales, traffic shoots up to a high. Does your application break in those cases? All of this stuff is something that the development team has to consider. Now if they wait for the operations team to come back and tell them after every 6 months, that means that there is a very big gap in the development life cycle, कि वो लोग आके बोलेंगे तब तक में ये लोग कुछ और बना के बैठ जाएंगे. That means that there is this whole disconnect between the development and operations. DevOps was introduced to bridge this gap, to shorten this gap as much as possible. What DevOps entails is that the development and operations aspects of any application should work together as a single team. The entire process consists of 7 to 8 different stages, and all of these happen in the form of a continuous loop. That someone develops an application, someone deploys an application, then they monitor the application. Based on the monitoring of the application, they have some feedback and they return it to the feedback, and that feedback is incorporated again in the development lifecycle. So the advantages of this approach are: number one is the quality of the application improved greatly. Suppose if you as a user found a bug in Amazon, you told them, you raised a support ticket and told them that so and so is the bug that I found. That when I actually looked at a product, it gave me a price of rupees 499, and when I actually went to purchase it, it came out to be something like 599. Would you prefer that you had to wait 1 year for this bug to be resolved, or if it could be resolved immediately in a release, let's say in the next week? So the latter is something that could be brought about with DevOps, and that was the best thing, that quality of the software improved drastically because the developers actually knew well in time about how their application was performing. The second one was rapid deployment. When you know that you have this immediate feedback and you need to quickly incorporate this feedback, that means that deployment, so taking your code from localhost to send it to production, happens much, much faster. You don't have to actually wait to install that stuff on a pen drive and give it to the operations team. You immediately deploy it, you immediately get the feedback. And the third one is improved collaboration. तो जो ये डेवलपमेंट एंड ऑपरेशंस टीम में बाहुबली और भल्लाल देव वाली जो मारपीट होती थी, that actually reduced quite a bit. You could quickly collaborate with the team so that the operations team could tell you that dude, so and so is working, so and so is not, quickly fix this, and you could work together to prioritize what needs to be fixed. So that is the whole philosophy of DevOps. Remember, DevOps is not a technology. DevOps in itself is not a technology. DevOps is a philosophy. It is a set of concepts. DevOps is implemented with the help of technology. Always remember this. So this is that infinite loop that I was telling you about, that now DevOps is, it is a process that always goes on. It starts at the discover stage, then there is planning, build, testing, deployment, operation, observability, and continuous feedback. These are quite heavy words, but I just want you guys to take 10 seconds to go through this and understand how it might all come together. That you discover some features that need to be implemented, you plan on how to implement these features, you build your product, you build your code, you test your code to see if it is working fine, then you deploy that code out to users, then it is operated upon. That means that this code is sent out to the users, you're tracking, and that whole exchange occurs. After that, you observe how your application is performing under high load, when users are actually using it. Based on that observation, you get that feedback. So either it is the feedback that the users manually give, or it is the feedback based on performance, that how your application is performing. And that again goes back to discover, that you got about 15 different observations, you got 15 different feedback points. Which of these are eye-opening for you and something that you can improve on in the next version? And that immediately goes. So that means that this whole process that's going to continue forever. This does not ever stop. You see that there is no break here in this infinite loop. It's going to keep coming over and over again. So this is the DevOps lifecycle. This is a very popular interview question, that what exactly is the DevOps lifecycle? So for those of you, who are targeting interviews, please make sure that you store this image in your mind.